go ahead and call a meeting to order. If you would, please rise. This time we'll have Pastor James McCrary come forward for the invocation.
Thank you, guys. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the City Council, thank you for letting me be here today. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much. Father, I lift up and pray for our city, our mayor, for the various city officials that are gathered here today. In this room in particular, Lord, for the council assembled before us. Father, I'm asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom to govern amid conflicting interests and issues of our times. That you would give them a sense of welfare and discernment to the needs of our people here in Odessa. Father, give them a keen thirst for justice and righteousness and confidence in what is good, Father. Give them the ability to work together in harmony even when there is disagreement. Lastly, Father, I pray for the agenda that is set before them today. Please give them an assurance of what would please you and benefit those who live, work in and around the city of Odessa. Father, may you be glorified and they be satisfied this day. We love you. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. This time, Boy Scout Troop number 91 will present the colors.
Color guard attention, audience attention. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, hold. Color guard, prepare to post the colors. Color guard, post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the Texas Pledge. Honor the
Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
2. Color guard reform. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, halt. Color guard at ease. Audience may be seated.
We can get our Boy Scouts to come back up. I just want to introduce everybody. Okay, I've got 6 scouts and 5 names, so somebody's got to get that to me. David Bates. Okay, I've got 4 names and 6 scouts. Dylan Bates. McCabe. Jesse. Josh.
Here.
And Daniel. Isai. Thank y'all very much for your time and thank you for what you represent. Can we give them a round of applause? We're going to change the order up just a little bit. We're going to give an award to Odessa College. First, let me give you my sincerest condolences on the loss of Rayanne. She was a very special lady, and I had the pleasure of serving with her, and she will be missed. If the OC delegates would come up. And I know this is a heavy night, so thank you.
Yeah.
Of course, we have Dr. Ray Williams, Virginia Chisholm, Valerie Jones, John Shreve, Dr. Wood, and Frank Rich. On behalf of the city, I would just like to tell you how proud we are to have a nationally accredited junior college. It is our pleasure to be able to present this to you in appreciation for all of y'all's hard work. Thank you. Never known you to turn a mic down.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, people, all those who working with and for the city of Odessa, we thank you so much for this honor. I am proud to be here with the Odessa College team. We have one of our board members in the audience, Tommy Clark, who's here this evening. I'm so proud to be a part of Odessa College and being named a Rising Star winner in the United States. Out of 1,100 community colleges in our nation, we were in the top 4 or 5, depending on how you do the math. Dr. Wood tells me it's top 2 when you count the money. But we're so proud to serve you. We appreciate this community for everything that you do for us. You give so much to us, you support us, and you certainly deserve the best community college in the nation. And each and every day we go to work with that in mind, and we're continuing that effort. Let me share this little tidbit with you. This is, I think, the 4th year in a row where we're having a record graduation coming up this weekend. And we're awarding over 750 or so degrees and certifications, which is an all-time high. And at the Coliseum, we have roughly 450 people participating. That number compares to last year's record of a little over 300 people participating in graduation. So the best is yet to come. We have only scratched the surface. We owe you much more, and we will continue to deliver. So on behalf of all of the people at Odessa College, and Mr. Mayor, I wasn't prepared to speak, so please confuse
yeah,
my...
you're always prepared.
So please confuse what I could. Please excuse my nerves and things as I talk to you here today.
Did well.
But we thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Clark, I didn't see if you'd like to stand.
I'm good.
Next, we will move to a Motorcycle and Safety Awareness Month. Roland Ramirez, are you here? It's my pleasure to be able to give this proclamation. It's a City of Odessa proclamation. Whereas motorcycles are an increasingly popular means of transportation for commuting, touring, recreational use on our roads, and motorcyclists are virtually unprotected and therefore more prone to injury and death in crashes than other vehicle drivers. And a critical element in reducing injuries and fatalities to motorcycles is education about motorcycle safety. And it is the responsibility of all who put themselves behind the wheel to become aware of motorcyclists, regarding them with the same respect in any other vehicle on the highways of this country. It is a responsibility of riders and motorists alike to obey all of the traffic laws and safety rules. I urge all citizens in our community to become aware of the inherent dangers involved in operating a motorcycle, and for the riders and motorists to give each other mutual respect. Now therefore, I, David R. Turner, by the virtue of authority vested in me as Mayor of the City of Odessa, do hereby proclaim the month of May Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month.
I'd like to thank each of you for your time and promoting motorcycle safety and awareness. We continue to move forward, and we do grow. You see more and more of us out there, and just want to thank each and every one of you for your time and allowing us to be here today.
Sure. All right, I feel short.
You're not alone.
Stand right here. Everyone can get with the sign.
You got somebody else coming? Yeah.
No, she's just in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. This is our 4th year with you guys.
That's
so
right,
Thank
yes.
y'all. Yes, sir. Thank y'all very much.
See you next year.
Yes, sir. We'll be here.
Thank y'all. Next, we'll have Fibromyalgia Awareness Day. Michelle here? We have a proclamation, City of Odessa proclamation, whereas fibromyalgia is a chronic pain illness that affects over 10 million people in the United States as a primary illness and millions more as a secondary illness. Fibromyalgia is a condition affecting the central nervous system for which there is currently no cure. It causes fatigue, debilitating pain in women, men, and children of all ethnicities, many of which goes undiagnosed. Increasing awareness and expanded knowledge of the realities of this living with fibromyalgia, and its impact on patients' quality of life will allow the community at large to better support those who struggle with the challenges of the chronic pain illness. Now therefore, I, David R. Turner, by the virtue of authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Odessa, do hereby proclaim May 12th, 2017, Fibromyalgia Awareness Day. Congratulations.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, and community, good evening. On behalf of myself and those who suffer with fibromyalgia, I'd like to take the opportunity and thank you for recognizing May 12, 2017 as Fibromyalgia Awareness Day in Odessa, Texas. Without the support and recognition of our elected officials, the fibromyalgia community's daily battle with pain and fatigue would go unnoticed. With an estimated 10 million Americans that are suffering from fibromyalgia today, we are at a crossroads in research. We must strive continually to make health practitioners aware of our plight. It is only because with this recognition that we will be successful in securing research funds to pinpoint the causes of fibromyalgia towards finding a cure. By enlisting the support of elected officials across the country, we ensure steady growth of awareness. It is our hope that one day fibromyalgia will be a household word. We will no longer have to suffer the indignities at the hands of callous employers and uninformed family members and healthcare providers, like so many patients and populations have before us. We have gained a respect of the general public and medical community. Thank you again for joining us to help us raise awareness for fibromyalgia and chronic pain.
Last but not least is the National Salvation Army Week, Major Dolores Watts. I'll read this proclamation. It's the City of Odessa proclamation. The Salvation Army's only business in this community of Odessa, Texas, as everywhere, is still human business, undertaken with the joy of the family of humankind to the greater glory of God. Through sound, innovative, and professional services, the Salvation Army serves the people of Odessa with an unshakable faith in all, no matter how desperate the situation and the views of the people with possibilities. The Salvation Army acts on behalf of all residents of our community with neither salvation nor any other condition prerequisite, nor expecting any thanks, yet nothing less welcoming community support. Now therefore, I, David R. Turner, by the virtue of authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Odessa, do hereby proclaim May 15th through 21st, 2017, Salvation Army Week.
Congratulations.
The Salvation Army has been in Odessa for over 50 years, so we want to thank you for your support because we can't do it without the community. So thank you so much for your support.
And also, many people don't realize that the Salvation Army is in over 126 countries around the world, and more than 25 million people around the world receive services every year.
And thank you for the cookies. Hey, I saw that.
Not here.
Just be sure and tell him how good it is.
Okay, next we will move to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
And motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, we'll move to the public hearing. We'll open a public hearing. Consider the approval. Yes, consider the approval of the request of Texas Tech University System. Mr. Brennan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The city mailed out 13 notices related to this case. We did not receive a response, positive or negative, related to the request. The property involved in the request is located in the northeast corner of the intersection of Bernice Avenue and West 3rd Street. The site is currently zoned single-family 3 and it is vacant. Land use in the general area does consist of residential development and medical facility related uses, and to the south of this site is industrial related development. The applicant and the property owner in this case is Texas Tech University System, and the purpose of the zone change request from single family 3 to medical center would facilitate an additional parking area for the proposed Texas Tech University Health Science Center new academic facility that's proposed to be built on adjacent property. The subject area is located in the greater downtown district of the city's of Odessa's future land use map. This is considered one of the prime areas for retail and commercial and educational medical development. And the future land use map does call for commercial development along major streets and recognizes the unique situation with 2 major hospitals and a medical teaching facility in the downtown area. The proposed zoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan and with the city's priority for attractive, safe neighborhoods. And this request would also provide a non-intrusive parking area that meets the needs of the proposed educational facilities needs. The Planning and Zoning Commission did give unanimous approval of this request. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Michael Molina. He is with Texas Tech, and he's prepared a short presentation to present to the council at this time.
I was hoping you were going to turn this around because this fancy gadget doesn't exist in Lubbock, Texas. Mr. Mayor and council, thank you for the time. Wanted to share a little bit of our vision with the Odessa campus here. First of all, on behalf of Chancellor Duncan, President Mitchell, and our complete Board of Regents, I wanted to say we appreciate and thank you for all the work. We know buildings don't just go up, even though they're sometimes self-governed. There was a lot of coordination with the city traffic and engineering department. So in short, we are building a 51,000 square foot facility, which is this box right here. The red roof is a conference center, which was gracefully donated and coordinated with the hospital right down the street. And that'll be a community use, not just Texas Tech use. The facility is focused on lab and research as well as academic functions. The area in question today, or in consideration today, is this little lot down here in the dashed red line. When you zoom in a little bit, I did want to make sure, and Dotsey Avenue is shown here as a step that is not complete yet with the city council and the city. We're working through that now. Mr. Hal Feldman is our key contact. So please don't look, I didn't want to look presumptuous here, but it is our master plan for the property, and we are hoping to acquire Dotsey Street from the city and create a park space with a drive-through drop-off area to the facility. And that basically is a park space which fronts the facility. That is not the area in question today. I just wanted to make that point. That's this area here for parking to the back side of the facility. I won't go into the great detail on the floor plan, but everything from classroom and flex space, there'll be a conference center in the upper right-hand corner, that peach color, which once again will be utilized by the entire community, coordinated with the HSC here in town, as well as common support space, development office, which is our fundraising arm for this area. School of Health Professions, School of Medicine, and School of Nursing will all have real estate inside this building. And it's called a collaborative design, so they actually cross-utilize and share space inside the box. There's 2 floors to the facility. The upstairs really focused more on the lab and office area. The conference center, which is the X in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, is actually 2 stories high, so it's for large events, banquets, etc. That divides into 2 to 3 spaces for different events. From a 3D perspective, this screen's really here just to say we have a strong commitment from our Board of Regents to continue what we consider a quite beautiful style of architecture. It didn't, for some reason, make the history of the Odessa campus, but going forward from 2014 in our master plan, all of our growth with anything that has the TTU brand will be in a Spanish Renaissance Texas Tech University style, and we will continue that style throughout, hopefully, future growth for our institution. I failed to mention this initiative was really funded by the approval of the 84th legislature last year, and who granted the funds or gave us the approval to proceed with this strategic growth here in the Permian Basin. So when you walk up to that park space, the people where they're walking is actually Dotsey Street. Once again, not to be presumptuous, we have some things to still work out, but that is the look and feel of the facility that will hopefully be finished in July of 2018. And I won't go through all the detail. I talked about the size and scale and the purpose. And then some of the, this is our Board of Regents slide. Some of this slide actually was presented for approval by our board, pending approval by the City of Odessa. And this is the area that we're talking about today. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those for you.
Any questions?
Looks very good, and we really appreciate Texas Tech being here, being a partner with us.
Thank you. I'll pass that on to Dr. Mitchell. Thank you.
Great. If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any more discussion? This is a public hearing, so we do have to open it up for any public comment. Is there anyone that'd like to comment? I guess everybody's leaving. Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we do have a motion and a second. All approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, we'll open a public hearing to consider the approval of the request by Matthew M. Scott. Mr. Brennan.
Yes, sir. The city mailed out 10 notices related to this case. We did receive 1 written approval related to the case. The property involved in the request is located in the 3200 block of Faudree Road. This site is currently zoned office, and it is occupied by the eyewash laundry facility. Land use in the general area does consist of single-family residential development and also retail use development. The applicant and the owner of the property is Matthew M. Scott, and the purpose of the rezone request to retail would align the zoning of the property with the existing use that's on this site. The proposed zoning for the area is consistent with proposed land uses of retail in a comprehensive plan, which does identify retail use as a recommended use adjacent to a major thoroughfare such as Faudree Road. And the retail zoning requested for this site is not out of scale with the needs of the area and the city. And this will facilitate development of support service uses for the existing residential development in this area. Planning and Zoning Commission did give unanimous approval of this request, and the planning staff does concur with the commission's recommendation for approval, and be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions from council?
Yeah. Is the laundry currently on that spot, or is it on one of the other spots?
No, it's on the crosshatch spot
Okay.
there in this graph, and that's what they're doing, and what we're requesting is to align the zoning with the existing use that's on that property.
Okay, so they're gonna leave the laundry there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I thought, but I
Yeah.
wanna be sure.
Yes, ma'am, and it'll be a support type service for the and that's what it's designed to be.
Does he only own that portion, or does he own the rest of that?
He owns the property to the north that's the related car wash also.
Okay.
How was how were they able to build on there if it had not been?
It was one of those situations, Mr. Gonzalez, at the height of when everything was going crazy, somehow a permit just got issued on that property. And we're trying to correct that situation right now.
Does that jeopardize any of the other businesses? I see that there's a home right next to it. Is that?
No, sir, it doesn't, because it's been calculated in for all type of development, type of situations to protect and minimize any type of impact to surrounding properties.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, this is a public hearing, so this time we will open up the floor for any comment on this agenda item. Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, we'll open a public hearing to consider the approval of the request by ICA Development. Mr. Brindley.
Yes, sir. The property involved in the request is located southwest of the intersection of Dr. Emmett Headley Road and Mission Boulevard. This site is currently zoned multifamily 1. It is vacant. Land use in the area does consist of vacant land. The applicant and property owner is ICA Development, and the purpose of the zone change request to retail would facilitate retail development and related uses on this site. This subject area is located in the northeast part of the city's future land use map, and this area is considered one of the prime areas for commercial and retail development, which would be backed by medium-density residential growth in this portion of Odessa. The proposed zoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan and is consistent with the city's priority for attractive, safe, and context-sensitive roadways. And the Planning and Zoning Commission did give unanimous approval to this request, and the staff does concur with the Commission's recommendation for approval and be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions?
Yeah, is this where Synergy is?
It is directly south of Synergy is over
Can you,
in this area right here,
okay,
in that area right there. This, my understanding, will be sort of a rec facility also, or an entertainment type use. It'll be in conjunction with the retail zoning that's directly east of this site.
okay.
Who owns all that property?
Right now, it's ICA Properties.
And why why are they only asking for that one certain part?
Well, that's the part that they have sold to or that they're gonna sell to the person that wants to develop as a rec center or recreational facility out there. And it's just that one site right now. The rest of it, still possibility of being multifamily development sometime in the future.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, this is a public hearing, so at this time I will open up the floor for any public comment.
I'm Roy Allen at 22 Emerald Gardens, Odessa, Texas. Mr. Gonzalez, to answer your question more directly, that property was under contract to a large multifamily developer, and when the price fall collapsed, they vanished on us. Our intention was originally to zone that property retail or light commercial, and probably at some point in the future we will come back and rezone that, or request for rezone for that tract of land, and try to develop it that way. But we just went along with a developer. That was a site they wanted and insisted on that site, so we just accommodated it. But they have gone away, so probably something different will happen in the future. Just want to make you aware of it.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Does that answer any other questions?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second? Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, we'll open a public hearing to consider the approval of the request by SJL Partners, Larry Lee, owner. Mr. Brindley.
Yes, sir. The city sent out 5 notices related to this case. We did not receive a response, positive or negative, related to the request. The property involved in the request is located south, adjacent to the Fodry Road at the south city limit line. This site is currently designated future development. It is vacant. Land use in the area does consist of industrial-related development and vacant land. The applicant and property owner is SJL Partners, Larry Lee, and the purpose of the original zoning requests of Plan Development Light Industrial, Plan Development Light Industrial Drill Reservation, and Plan Development Light Industrial Surface Drainage would facilitate industrial-related development on this site. It would also establish 2 drill sites and also establish a detention and drainage basin on the property. This subject area is located in the southern section of the City of Odessa's future land use map. This area is considered to be the heart of the industrial area for the city, and the proposed zoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan and is consistent with the city's priority for safe roadways. Fodry does function as a major thoroughfare that does carry truck traffic quickly to the city's truck routes and out of the daily community traffic. The Planning and Zoning Commission did give unanimous approval to the original zoning requests with the adoption of the following conditions. And these are conditions that have been adopted with all the previous legal industrial site zoning requests. That the development standards related to building setback and height, lot coverage, parking requirements, and things of this nature would meet the standards that are set in the city zoning ordinance light industrial zoning. Land uses would include the uses that are allowed in the light industrial zoning district with the exception of a sexually oriented business. And also that curb and gutter would not be a requirement within this development. And the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval, and the staff does concur with this recommendation and be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, you would expect me to have a question. I don't want to disappoint you. Right now, at this moment, is that land in the city limits of Odessa?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because the way it looks to me, I thought it was maybe not within our city limits, but what we could annex.
No, ma'am, it is currently in the
It is
city
in it?
limits, and
Okay.
we're zoning it to be developed as industrial use.
Okay.
Any other questions? This is a public hearing, so at this time we will open the floor for any public comment on this agenda item. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I need to abstain, please.
Okay, we have 3 and 1 abstention. The motion passes. Next, underneath ordinances, this should have been put under public hearing. Mr. Long has just let me know. So this will be a public hearing. To consider designating an area as a reinvestment zone number 8 and establishing its boundaries. Mr. Burnett.
Mayor, members of the council, thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. Obviously, this is the reinvestment zone designation for the tax abatement process as it works here in the city of Odessa. This is for the Weir Oil and Gas project that we've been talking about for quite a while. The capital investment on the project is going to be in the $25 million range, 84 retained jobs and 84 new jobs. The Tax Incentive Committee has taken this up on April the 24th and voted unanimously to pass this along to the City Council for their consideration. It's part of the process for a reinvestment zone to be established before a tax abatement can be given. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, I do. Mr. Burnett, first of all, I am very, very, very pro oil and gas. In fact, the council can tell you when we came up with a new logo, I really wanted oil and gas logo. I feel that we are the oil and gas capital of North America, and personally I like to flaunt it, okay? We're always going to be oil and gas, but I do think we need to diversify. I personally have a problem with this reinvestment zone, the abatement, and even the money that ODC wants to give. And the reason is because when this was first presented to us, it was presented to us as Weir Oil and Gas. Now, as I study the documents, the official documents, I find that a company called Schwab and a company called SPM Flow are the company. You state that they're the company, but then as you read further, you find out that, well, really, Schwab is going to be the company and the owner, and SPM Flow is going to be the person that leases it. Okay? That's a little confusing. Then when I read in here about things that can and cannot be abated, it tells me one thing is that you have to own the property. Well, SPM is not going to own the property, they're going to lease it. Then I find out that, well, what's really going to happen is Schwab is going to receive the abatement money, and SPM Flow is going to provide the employees. And then I have a problem with the employees, because everything that I've noticed that has happened with an abatement in the past is the company does not receive any money for the abatement until they have all of the employees in place. And the 85 employees, the first year, we're going to give them money because they only have to have 15 employees. And the next year, they have to have like 20 employees, 30 employees. And at the end of the 5 years, they're finally up to your 85 employees. I have a problem with that. I never knew council changed those rules. Maybe they did before me, not while I've been here. Then when I go and I look at the documents from economic development, I find that, whoa, we're involved in this. It says that SPM Flow Control and its related affiliates and subsidiaries, we're oil and gas company. Really? Again, I've got a problem. I personally feel misled. In the beginning, I didn't know there were going to be 3 companies involved in this. I'm responsible for tax dollars. We've got a lot of retirees out there. We've got a lot of single mothers out there. We've got a lot of business people out there. And I know what they're going to say. Well, what are you doing? I thought this money was for diversification. And these 3 companies can mingle their employees and move it here and move it there, and it'll count. We're setting a precedent. Whatever we do here, I believe we should do for every company. And you've already stated that when you talk to a company about this, they said, whoa, we didn't know that we could get money from the city for this, and well, yeah, I think I'll expand my business too. To me, that's not economic development. I can't go for this. This is not my understanding of economic development. And yeah, it may be legal to have all 3 of these companies here and there. Yeah, I know big companies, they don't even pay taxes. I pay lots of taxes. I don't like this. I said earlier, you know, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, I think it's a duck.
Okay, well, so Mr. Burnett.
May I address, if it would be? We've had a system within the city of Odessa that has worked. We had a study that was performed by Dr. Ray Perryman, I believe we just got about 30 days ago, that said that we get $68 back for every dollar we invest within the city through our ODC funds. Phenomenal. We've had a system that works because the questions that are asked in regards to the legality of that company goes through a compliance committee, goes through the ODC board that we have 2 members here tonight that I see, and a former member, that's back in the back. I think it's a process that has worked so well in our city. and it has performed. In a study performed, made public by Dr. Perryman stated that for every dollar, we get $68 back. Wow. I think it works.
Mr. Burnett.
I would, there's a lot of questions there, obviously. I'll try to remember all those. SPM is a wholly owned subsidiary of Weir Oil and Gas. That's who we initially talked to. It's very common for companies to have wholly owned subsidiaries of themselves that still is the same company. Schwab is building the building for Weir Oil and Gas, or SPM Flow Control. They will own the building and lease it back to the company. The company will still be responsible for the jobs created and pay the lease for the building, which will basically pay for the building. The tax abatement guidelines that were established by the taxing entities several years ago set up minimum job requirements, minimum investment. They're way below 15 jobs for a tax abatement of this level, if you were able to read those guidelines. So the 15 jobs that are created in the first year are well above the minimum requirements for the tax abatement initially. So that question can be addressed in any different ways. The 84 established jobs or the 15 ratcheted up to 84. The tax abatement and the incentives by the ODC are both paid in arrears after the company performs. No money, no tax abatements, nothing happens if the company does not perform according to the guidelines in the agreement. So the three companies are the construction company that will be building the building, the Weir Oil and Gas, which owns SPM Flow Control, which will be creating the jobs. So this deal, there was no deception intended. Obviously, we've been working on this for quite a while, and if there was some deception, we would have, I hope, dug that out before now. The compliance committee did look at this. In fact, they've looked at it twice. ODC has heard this several times, and I know I've talked to the council in some briefing sessions about this project, so I hope that there's no implication of deception on the ODC part or on my part or the Chamber of Commerce's part, because it's not there. We work to try to do what's best for Odessa. We're just trying to create jobs. Diversification is a big part of what we're doing. As Mr. Bryant indicated, Dr. Perryman said the oil and gas industry is a huge part of what we're doing, and we need to continue to build on that. We will do everything we can to attract outside businesses, but we also want to help our inside businesses, our local businesses expand. So I'm just here to present the project. Y'all get to vote. Obviously, I don't get to do that. So I want to continue to do what I'm doing and try to present it in the best way possible. But at the end of the day, y'all get to make those decisions, and we work from there. And we want to continue to present Odessa in the best light possible from the oil and gas industry or for any other industry in our community or outside.
Mr. Collins, I apologize. I failed to put you in that same category. Excuse me.
And are you telling me that at the end of the first year with the 15 employees, they're not going to receive any money? They're going to wait until year 5 to receive any money from the abatement?
No, according to the contract, tax abatement agreement, which the legal department has done, according to the guidelines, tax abatement guidelines, I think the minimums are 10 new jobs and $1 million investment, so they'll be well above that in order to qualify for tax abatement. So just with that first year. But again, it will be after the first year and after they create the jobs, and it's documented.
We calculate the abatement, if I recall, at our last meeting that we had at the finance meeting. What was that number? I believe you and Richard had a number.
I'll defer to Richard on that.
It depends on what the company's valued at the appraisal district.
Right.
It was around $240,000 total.
If I recall, before any of this can be done, the $25 million project has to be built.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
$25 million has to be built for that small abatement. Thank you.
Now,
And wait,
go ahead.
can I say something?
Yeah.
The 240,000 was
over 5 years.
After they pay their taxes or something like that, or?
Yeah, the company has to pay the taxes and their
But altogether, it was going to be over $300,000 that they were going to receive in tax abatements. Right?
No, the total abatement's about $240,000. Again, that depends on the value as it shows up. It's not going to be valued at $25 million on the appraisal, I doubt.
It is ratcheted to 100% year 1, 80%, 60%, 40%, 20%, and then full value. over 5 years.
All right, well, I guess I have a misunderstanding, but let me ask you another question. Have we looked at the gross sales that they're gonna do on an annual basis?
We've not really analyzed their gross sales. We were mainly dealing with the capital investment and the job creation.
Because, I mean, I think
But it would impact the sales tax.
It would impact the sales tax, plus on top of that, you know, it's a big factor on what a business person would look at and say, okay, I'm gonna make $100 million in gross sales this year. How really important is the $1.4 million that I get from the city in tax abatements or, you know, through the other programs that we have? So at the end of the day, that's what I call the cherry on top. You know, if I'm a businessman, I'm gonna go into a town, I'm gonna go there regardless if the city's gonna give me something or not. Because at the end of the day, if I need that money to function, then I'm not gonna make it because, you know, you're making a $25 million investment. I mean, the annual sales have to be pretty strong. You gotta have, you know, an average of $100,000 a year for each employee. If you're gonna have 100 people working there, I mean, you gotta generate quite a bit of revenue there. So at the end of the day, I don't think this 1.8 or 1.6 million dollars that they're gonna get with the other program and the abatement is that important. And I think they would, like my colleague had said, that, you know, how many jobs are they gonna be creating if they're gonna be taking jobs from the other people that are working here, and what kind of advantage are we creating for this one company over all the other ones that are here in town? So at the end of the day, you know, are we helping the economy, or are we not by doing this? So.
Well, the economic development deals that are out there, they're all based on obviously the location, the available resources within the community, and then incentives are one factor of the competition that economic development is. And there's no other way to describe what we do. The state of Oklahoma and El Reno, Oklahoma is in competition for this particular project. I believe they're going to offer incentives. And I believe that the incentives will be the difference maker. The state of Texas has the Texas Enterprise Fund, which is, they call a deal closing fund, and they only use it for the cherry on top to get businesses to move to Texas. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, is just put the cherry on top, if that's the way you want to say. But it is a factor in the decision-making process for site location consultants and the businesses that are looking at locations to move and expand their business. It's just a fact of the matter.
Listen, I'd like to say, I believe in that tax, in that meeting, I don't, if I can recall correctly, if Mr. Collins can correct me, I don't believe it was unanimous that
we had an abstention.
Okay.
But everybody else voted for it.
Okay. And I'd like for the record to say that I did state to you that I was okay with this, with exception to the fact that I'd like to see you guys work more with the small businesses here in Odessa. Yes, and help those guys compete in this economy.
And I said I gave you my word we would do that, and it would go back to what Barbara's saying about helping all of our local businesses expand, and that's a goal of what we try to do, on top of everything else. Okay. But yes, sir.
I would like to conclude with my thinking is the fact that the amount of money that we're looking at for the risk that's involved of losing a $25 million property and facility, I think it's very, very minimal. And I think that's what you got to look at in the business world. And I think that's what you got to look at as a city. So thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. Any other questions?
One more question. I believe you said that compliance had to look at this twice,
I
right?
said they did look at this twice.
They did look at it twice?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's
that
not,
tells me that
that's
they
not
must have had
unusual.
some doubts. I don't know.
That's not unusual. We've looked at the project that we're going to present to ODC on Thursday. That's a distribution center. We looked at it twice as well, just because things change in the process. Either employee numbers go up, investment goes up, it changes. Maybe they couldn't find couldn't find a building they liked, so they decided to build. So.
Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about this one right here.
Right.
Why don't we just say an example? Okay, this is a public hearing, so at this time we will open up the floor for any comments. Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearings. Do we have a motion?
I move that we do not go forth with the reinvestment zone.
Second. Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the vote is 3-1, not to. Next, under resolution, consider a change order of the University Improvements Professional Service Agreement with Kimberly Horn.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item is a change order to the existing contract, professional service contract we have with Kimberly Horn. Most of the change order deals with not anticipated or under anticipated values dealing with the scope of the project. There's been a huge amount of utility coordination. We're asking the franchise utilities, a lot of them to go underground, so there's a lot of work with that. Another big part of this change order is we were originally thinking of going from design right into roadway construction. Now we're thinking it would be a better project for the roadway contractor, for everyone involved, if we did an intermediate construction project involving utilities, moving fences, that sort of thing, clearing right away to allow the roadway contractor to get in there and work. The price for this change order is $496,200. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you...
Okay, are there any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I do have to say something real quick. I would like to thank you, the city, and Kimberly Horn. A lot of this is in my district, and y'all have done a superb job with this. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, consider allocation of funds to the construction of University Boulevard improvement projects. Mr. Feldman.
This is basically allocating the funds for the construction phase of this project, which we're coming up on. What we're asking for is to allocate $12 million from the Public Works bond account into the University Boulevard construction account. This will allow us to actually physically construct the project, and that's $12 million.
Okay, any questions?
Basically, all you're doing is moving it from one fund to funds that you can use for the construction, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Feldman. Next, we need to remove from the table the resolution of City Council of Odessa approving a negotiated resolution between Atmos, West Texas, and the city steering company.
I move first that we remove it from the table.
Okay, we have a motion to remove it and put it back on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? 4-0, we're back on the table. Mr. Hildebrand.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, it's a privilege to be here tonight. Just a little background. The West Texas Division of Atmos Energy continues to make investment in its infrastructure to maintain a safe and reliable system. They've invested over $76 million in capital since the last review of rates. Atmos Energy filed for a rate increase so that it may have an opportunity to recover some of those costs and earn a reasonable return on its investment. So what they did was complete a rate review mechanism filing. That filing went to our steering committee that we are part of and West Texas cities are a part of and negotiated that rate. They initially asked for about a little $5.15 million. It got reduced down to 4.2. And that what that does is it increases a customer charge that would be $16 to $16.50. So about a 5% increase in people's rates. Councilmember Graff asked about commercial and industrial and transportation rates. Those have been included to you as well. Those are less than that as a percentage. And so you have that resolution in front of you for your approval tonight.
Okay, any questions?
I really don't have a statement. I have a statement, and it has to do with, disappointed, Conrad, that, and I'm not blaming you, you're the one at the podium, but
Sure.
the fact that we're actually having to clean this up, I mean, this should have been something that should have come to the board, and we would have had appropriate time to make any suggestions or changes, and at the end of the day, I don't like these kind of mistakes as far as, you know, what was the date that we were supposed to?
March 15th, we actually got the negotiation happened, and the resolution came from our settlement committee in April.
So is this something that
city
happens
issue.
every day? I mean, every year?
No, it was something that, as those filings happen, we have a steering committee that works for you, a bunch of attorneys and others, that's what they do. And they negotiated it down, so they worked real hard and beat up Atmos, and as I mentioned, brought down that cost substantially.
How many cities are involved, Conrad, with this?
In the settlement?
Yes, our cities that our group represents, which includes us, how many more are there?
I think way over 100.
So.
I think it's about 66. It's 66. And Mayor, Council, in past rate reviews, the City of Odessa has actually been at the table as part of the steering committee and taken an active role. This one we weren't. So if it came to you late, it's probably my fault.
Well, I mean, again, I'm just one person. I'm just one of the city councilmen. I don't know, and I can't speak for any of my colleagues here, but I was just saying that I'd really like to make sure that we stay ahead of the game.
That's very well noted.
I agree.
Okay. Any other questions?
We represent districts, we represent individuals out there, and we want to be able to know what's going on and express our wishes for the people that we represent, and not have to just rely on somebody else to do it. Yeah, somebody's got to do it, but I think what Philly is saying, we want to be in the beginning of it, saying, yeah, these rates are too high for our people.
Well,
We're here to represent them.
I believe when they filed, we brought to you an item that basically said to delay it a certain amount of time so that it would allow for the negotiation. And so we did bring it to you early.
Yes.
What I think what we failed to do was keep you updated into the process of that negotiation.
Well, it's kind of hard to keep you up to date if you don't receive the results until after the call's been made.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Hildebrandt. Next, under appointment of the boards, MOUTD, we're going to leave on the table. Citizen Golf Committee will address next time. Do we have anybody for Buildings Board of Appeals?
No, sir.
Okay. Planning and Zoning, we do have a recommendation.
Marcia Cleaver.
Marcia Cleaver. CRMWD, we will talk about next time. Housing Authority of Odessa, we can go ahead and put those back on. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next, consider removal of current ODC board member prior to the expiration of their terms.
Okay. We wish to discuss the removal of current ODC board members, that being Jimmy Bro, Charles Carlson, Gene Collins, Tim Edgman, and Betsy Triplett Hurt. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
And
3-1, and we are now in executive session.
okay.
Okay, it's 7:56, we're now out of executive session. Can I have a motion to come out of the executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Excuse me. Motion and second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And there was no action taken during the executive session. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we remove our current chairman from the Odessa Development Corporation Board.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
A motion second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Any citizen comments for non-agenda items?
No, sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Thanks. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? We're adjourned.